Good afternoon, everybody, and I'd like to welcome you to council meeting today. Belleville, City of Belleville acknowledges we're meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations. We recognize and honor the historical relationship of Indigenous peoples to this land and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and natural resources contained within them. We recognize all First Nations and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support for need of cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation, show respect for the Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on this land where we now all reside together. Please remain standing for a moment of reflection.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others, so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Please be seated. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, I need a motion of approval of the council meeting of 9th of February 26 and special council meeting February 10th of 26. Moved by Councillor Sue, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion, all in favor, carried. It's great to start the meeting tonight. We have an employee, former employee, retired for one day now in the audience that we'd like to honor today. Kevin, can you come to the podium here? Just stand up at the podium. We won't throw darts at you. We will be friendly. So I just want to recognize Kevin Lott after 26 years of dedicated service to our community as a transit driver and his service as a safety representative for over 20 years. For over a quarter of a century, you have helped keep Belleville moving. 26 years of service speaks to your dedication, resilience, and pride in your work and looking after the citizens of Belleville. Thousands of residents, students, workers, seniors, and families have relied on you to get them where they needed to go. They've relied on your smiling face in the morning to say good morning, and your help and your professionalism. Your patience, your strong commitment to safety, you provided a connection, reliability, and a friendly face to our community. It's people like you that make our corporation the corporation it is today, and I'd like to thank you, congratulate you on your 26 years of service. I know you worked Monday to Friday. Today's your first day off, and we got you in here back to work. But enjoy your retirement, enjoy it well, and I have a certificate here for you and a little bit of a gift. Baked goods and everything, and it was a good day. But really appreciate the stories you shared with us about your retirement, the people you met, the people that just had a bad day and you made their day better by seeing you in the morning. So on behalf of council, we have a little bit of a gift in here for you, and we have a certificate here also. Welcome you to your retirement. So
thank you very much.
And hey. Thank you for not running me over on the bus. You know, I walk a lot in the mornings. I know you tried a few days, but we were good. So
you run good.
I run good, yes. Thank you. I know you're shy, but you can just say hi to council. And
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All I can do is say it's been a wonderful career, and not only was it into the 27th year here, but a total of about 40. It's time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, correspondence. I have a recommendation that request for guidance on municipal primary care recruitment mayor's letter, response from the health minister, letter to be received, moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Chatton. Discussion, all in favor, carried. Motion to go into committee of the whole at 4:07. To hear and consider reports, passing recommendations with Councillor Sue in the chair, moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor, carried.
Good afternoon, everyone. Shall we begin? Reports with the agenda shall include, under reports, items that warrant individual attention from council. 8A1, fiscal impacts of housing bills 2023 to 2025. Recommendation reads that the senior principal planner report APS-2026-04, fiscal impacts of housing bills 2023-2025 be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Councilor Brown and his worship. Any discussion? Councilor Carr, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate staff compiling this data. It mentioned when the first few housing bills come out, we asked for a background report to get an idea of the financial impact it would have as fees were being waived. And as you can see here, over the last couple of years, the City of Belleville is out revenue at approximately $9.5 million. And when you factor in the Building Faster Fund at just over $2 million, we're still in a loss of $7.4 million. And that's concerning. I recall when the first housing bill came out, Bill 23, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing at the time had a meeting with the big city mayors and made it clear that the government was going to make municipalities whole for any lost funding as a result of housing bills. And then since that, they've introduced 3 or 4 other bills now, and staff have done an excellent job in tracking it. I was actually communicating with the mayor of Guelph. He's on the big city mayor's caucus, and I saw he was mentioning about some of these bills, and I said, is your municipality tracking these? And he said no, and so I sent him a copy of this report, and we need all the municipalities to keep track of this. So what I'd like to do, Madam Chair, is actually make an amendment to the motion to receive it, but also refer this report and the attachment to the special council meeting with the MPP roundtable when that will be scheduled, and that a letter be sent to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing with a copy of the report and requesting that the City of Belleville be provided with the total funds lost as a result of provincial housing bills.
So there's an amendment. Could I have, okay, Councilor Chatton and Councilor Henderson, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Then they move on to next. What do I have to do? Okay. So it is a. Do I have to get this moved? So let's move on to. So original motion as amended. Thank you. Councilor Chatton? Okay, so all in favor? Carried. Thank you. 8A2, notice policy. Recommendation reads that pursuant to the city clerk's reports CC-2026-03, notice of policy, the draft notice policy dated February 2026 be adopted. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? His worship and Councilor Henderson, do you have any questions and discussion? Saying none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, the next, 8A3, flag etiquette policy. Recommendation reads that pursuant to the city clerk's report CC-2026-04 flag etiquette policy, the city's supplying and lowering of flags and tower access procedure dated May 11, 2009 be rescinded. Can I have mover and the seconder? Oh, sorry. And that the draft flag etiquette policy dated February 2026 be adopted. So may I have mover Councilor Chatton and Councilor Carr, all in favor? Thank you. Carried. 8A4, Proclamation, Lighting, and Community Flag Raising Policy. Recommendation reads that pursuant to the City Clerk's Report, CC-2026-05, Proclamation, Lighting, and Community Flag Raising Policy, the draft proclamation, lighting, and community flag raising policy dated February 2026 be adopted. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Thompson and Councilor Emery Miller. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none? All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Okay, the next, consent items. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such a motion, and council shall consider such items individually. So I'll go around to my right. His worship.
No, thank you.
And Councilor Brown?
AP4, please.
AB4. And Councilor Chatton?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Henderson?
No, thank you.
Councilor Emery Miller?
No, thank you.
Councilor Carr?
No, thank you.
Councilor Thompson?
No, thank you.
Okay, so AB4. So consent items be AB1 to AB5 be approved with the exception of item AB4 to be considered separately. So could I have a mover? Councilor Chatton, and seconder, Councilor Emery Miller. Thank you. Okay, now we're going back to, called vote. So, called vote. All in favor? Thank you, carried. So now we're back to AB4. For investment policy quarterly reports, recommendation reads that the accounting coordinator's report number AC-2026-02, investment policy quarterly report to be received. So this one was pulled. Councilor Brown, could I have a seconder? Councilor Chatton? No. Councilor Brown, floor is yours.
Thank you. And I no issues with this. I just wanted to congratulate the investment coordinator and the finance team as a whole. A yield of 5.53 on an investment portfolio these days is pretty exceptional. And so I just wanted to highlight what a great job the team is doing in terms of managing our resources and our investment portfolio as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. So we call for a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Okay, now information items. Recommendation, okay, so go to AC1. Okay, information, that information item AC1 be received. Could I have a mover? Councilor Chatton and his worship, all in favor? Thank you, carried. So there is no AC2, no AC3. So now AD, rise and report. Recommendation is that the committee of the whole does now rise and return to council at 4:15 p.m. So could I have a mover? Councilor Emery Miller, Councilor Henderson, all in favor? Thank you, carried.
Thank you, Councilor Sue. Bylaws, and your recommendation of bylaws number 2026-020 and 021 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. New business. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to request a staff report related to fire and emergency services in the areas rated rural response. What I'm looking for specifically is the number of response calls in 2025 for the rural response area, the number of occasions in 2025 when the third pumper was the first to arrive on scene in the rural response area, and what was the average response time of that third pumper, and what was the average response time of the part-time firefighters. Also interested in the number of occasions when the urban firefighters handed off control of the scene to the part-time firefighters during a rural response, and the number of occasions when the urban firefighters did not hand off to the part-time firefighters, and the reasons why the urban force retained control of a rural site. Now, I do recall that Fire and Emergency Services provided an annual report in March of 2024. So if the report is imminent in 2025, I'd appreciate if this information was included along with whatever additional information Fire and Emergency Services wishes to provide to Council.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Brown. Any other new business? I have one, the bylaw number 2026-023, a bylaw to amend the bylaw number 2023-55, a bylaw to approve and authorize the execution of financial accountability and service agreement between the Corporation of the City of Belleville and the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion, all in favor? Carried. Okay, motions. Recommendation, Councillor Carr, whereas the Ontario Government Primary Care Action Plan, January 2025, to connect every person in Ontario to primary care by 2029, whereas the Ontario Government is utilizing Healthcare Connect to gauge performance on their action plan. Therefore, the City Council of Belleville formally requests that the Belleville General Hospital Foundation launch a recruitment drive, including community clinics on a regular basis, similar to the program initiated by the Trenton Memorial Hospital Foundation, and to get residents without primary care to add their names to Healthcare Connect, and that the manager of physician recruitment and retention prepare and deploy a communication strategy to advise on a regular basis the importance of unattached residents registering with Healthcare Connect in order to obtain a primary care provider, and the details on how to do so. So that's moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Kelly or Henderson. Discussion. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. The motion is quite self-explanatory, but just recently with the town hall meeting that Councillor Brown and I had with Ward 2 residents, you know, they made it clear that they appreciated the fact that the city was doing physician and nurse practitioner, I guess, primary care recruitment, but the kind of the red line is incorporating revenue from property taxes to invest in primary care. The provincial government, you know, and I've said this before, we're battling with the provincial government all the time to get funds. We just passed a motion here to write to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to make us whole on over $7 million in revenue that we've lost as a result of their housing bills. And so as we're scratching and clawing for those type of things, we actually have the provincial government now with an action plan to address primary health care. And they provided $4.5 million to the Hastings Prince Edward Ontario Health Team here, and that is being used to attract primary care, and there is recruitment that's happening off of the Healthcare Connect. So unattached patients that are on Healthcare Connect are actually connecting up, and so that's occurring. There's other rounds that are going to be funding rounds that will be released by the province. But the key is for those unattached patients, they have to get on Healthcare Connect. And the other side of it, and I know we run into this a lot, Councillor Brown and I have heard this speaking with folks who've moved into the area, and they've said to us, well, our doctor's in Ajax. Well, you can still have your doctor in Ajax and register with Healthcare Connect. It's all based on postal code. So my concern is if we have unattached residents that aren't on Healthcare Connect, two things are happening. Number one, the province isn't seeing the full need and therefore will not provide the funds to meet that need. And so we have to make sure that we give that true picture. I did have a conversation with the interim executive director of the Belleville General Hospital Foundation today, and I said, I'm not trying to commit you to anything, but I would hope that your organization would partner with us. And certainly I know their ED, their emergency department gets overrun with a lot of people that if they had primary care, they wouldn't be there in the first place. I suggested perhaps setting up a kiosk in the ED, get a volunteer, and as people are waiting for hours to see somebody, ask that simple question is, do you have primary care? And if not, while you're waiting here, would you like to register on Healthcare Connect? The other thing is that like anything else, it's all online nowadays, and we do have residents that struggle with technology, and so having some of these organizations, the foundation set up and provide community clinics so people can connect. At the end of the day, this is something that we should be promoting, and also in the motion there, it just talks about our city staff making sure that we're articulating that out. Funny enough, after I put the notice of motion on, I actually saw the signs around City Hall where the QR code where you can connect or register for Healthcare Connect, which is great. We need to promote that the most in order to really reflect the need to get the money in order for the province to solve what is their responsibility.
Okay, anybody else on this? Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to echo Councillor Carr. When I started to think about this after the notice of motion came forward, it occurred to me that the ER and our walk-in clinics would have the most access. You go there because you're a non-rostered patient. Sometimes there's an emergency, but I would suggest that by and large it is people who are unrostered. And so therefore that's the greatest area to connect with. So I think there's an opportunity for the BGH Foundation to work with their ER to the point with a kiosk of some sort and make it part of the normal triage process at the ER and part of the intake process as at the walk-in clinics. And I don't think it's something that's insurmountable because we don't have a tremendous number of walk-in clinics remaining anymore. So I think if we could attack those two areas in terms of we do the promotion, but it become part of the intake process in both locations, we would have much more success in getting those patients that are probably being lost in the count onto Healthcare Connect so that we can continue getting provincial funding and getting them registered with primary care. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, just I tried to get clarification from Councillor Carr, so I just need to know the main function is for the registration. Are we, and no way are we committing the foundation or the hospital to recruit doctors like we are? So is it just for the list then? Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any problem with the motion. The only problem I have with it is if we're asking Karen Post to come up with an advertising on a regular basis of unattached patients. I spoke with Karen. Unfortunately, she can't be here tonight. She doesn't have a budget for it. So depending on corporate-wise, and I can go to the treasury here, I think our advertising budget was cut by about 40% this year in the budget, 30%. Well, we'll find that out Wednesday. But I guess my concern is, Karen said depending on length of advertising, a plan to roll out, if we're doing radio and all forms of media, we're looking at thousands and thousands of dollars. So I don't know if this should go to budget or what it should do. And Councillor Carr, you had your hand up, and Councillor Thompson had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I'll respond to that. And obviously, we've got some budget decisions to make, and I know there's some rollback on that. But I guess I could say is that we're not doing any advertising up until just a week ago. Then I see some flyers taped to some doors at City Hall. But prior to that, I have not seen on social media, I have not seen anything in City Hall. Like for example, when we were doing some of our planning stuff, our ADUs and secondary suites and everything, there was advertisement in the elevator as people come into City Hall and think about, maybe adding a secondary suite. I'm not suggesting that we go out and spend thousands of dollars, but we do have a very good communication staff here that do very robust communication through social media, I would start there at least, because right now, I have not seen any formal advertising, even through those free channels, to tell people to sign up. And that's the key to get the money, and that's the key to get the primary care.
Now, I know Karen does a good job on our press releases when we do the doctor recruitment, so I guess we'll just leave that with staff in the sense of budget item. Okay, Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, I agree with the philosophy of doing the recruiting, but I don't see anything in here of committing us to dollars to advertise it. I understand that this is going to be to the General Hospital, Belleville General Hospital Foundation, so I don't understand where we're committing dollars to advertising. Am I reading that wrong, Mr. Councilor Carr? No. So I don't see where we have to commit dollars at this stage, so thank you.
Okay, so the community strategy to advertise would be not on a monetary basis then. Councillor Henderson?
Thanks very much. And, not to overthink this or anything, but, we send tax bills out. We send water bills out. Could we not include something in one of these pieces of correspondence to each and every household? It's certainly going to get us to the people that need to and avoid the people that don't need it. So such as, maybe people that aren't specifically in Belleville. This would connect us directly to those, whether it be a water bill or any type of correspondence we would send out to members of the public. So just my thought on it.
We can give that direction then to the manager of physician recruitment. Any other discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next motion, Councillor Brown. Whereas Alto, a federal crown corporation whose role is to establish a high-speed rail network between Toronto and Quebec City, has recently released possible routes, with one coming through the city of Belleville, Ward 2 Thurlow. Whereas Alto has stated at the proposed southern corridor and prime agricultural and densely populated residential areas, as well as the Moira watershed and numerous conservation lands, simplifies construction and operations, and whereas the city of Belleville takes pride in its rural character, its residential and agricultural lands, and many natural features contained within, such as the Moira River, Eastern Ontario Trails, the Frink Centre, and we take pride in our efforts to protect environmentally sensitive areas throughout our community. Whereas the city of Belleville prefers to maintain continuity of our municipal and unique features without the obstruction and obstacle of high-speed rail line, therefore, it be resolved that with limited information and consultation that has been provided to date, and with our understanding of the potential impact of our community, City of Belleville does not support the proposed southern corridor, which will significantly impact Ward 2 Thurlow area, and that this motion be sent to the offices as listed on the motion. Councillor Brown, moved by, seconded by Councillor Chatton. Discussion. Councillor Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Alto is a Toronto to Quebec City high-speed rail network. The new passenger rail service will see development of approximately 1,000 kilometers of dedicated and electrified track across the most densely populated area in Canada. With speeds of upwards of 300 kilometers per hour or more, Alto aims to reduce passenger travel time compared to current train journeys. The project is expected to cost in the neighborhood of about $90 billion. I'm sure that will grow for that reduced travel time. So how much time do you ask? It saves about 90 minutes. In other words, $1 billion per minute saved. Information that's available from Alto is the consideration of 2 rail options, currently in public consultation until March the 29th. A northern corridor passing through Peterborough and along a straight run to Ottawa, along the Highway 7 area, or a southern corridor. My focus today is the Alto high-speed rail southern corridor only. That passes through Eastern Ontario. It passes through residential, agricultural, and resort areas with a high population density. According to Alto, the southern approach simplifies construction and operations as residential properties, agricultural and conservation areas are much easier to clear than the granite that exists in the northern corridor. This southern corridor passes through a considerable portion of Belleville, from just north of Harmony Road to our municipal boundary at Clearview Road. This area represents a significant section of Ward 2 in the Belleville Rural Taxation Area, which contains currently 3,400 unique residential properties. Early estimates suggest that this southern corridor could impact up to 2,500 to 2,700 homeowners in Belleville. The southern corridor will impact a swath of agricultural properties and potentially impact up to 8 Quinte Conservation land holdings just in our area alone, including the Sydney Conservation Authority and the H.R. Frink Center, not to mention our watershed as a whole. It will have significant impact on our ecosystems and environmentally sensitive areas. And for what? Faster passenger travel between Toronto and Quebec City. The high-speed rail line would be fenced along its entire length. This means that there'll be no level crossings, only under or overpasses as cost permits. This will be leave many dead ends where existing non-arterial roads will meet the tracks, and it'll split our municipality and sever many transportation links. The agriculture will be affected because it's not uncommon for farmers to farm different parcels of land to achieve an economically viable size. Their fields are often non-contiguous, and farmers need to move their machinery a considerable distance from one property to another. Imagine trying to do that should the properties be on different sides of the high-speed rail line. I'm also aware that Alto is engaging with the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, which means that there's an acknowledgement that agricultural impact is expected. Some have asked how the high-speed corridors will make it any different from what occurred in the 50s and 60s when the 401 was developed through the central of eastern Ontario. Land was expropriated and multiple lanes were created in what was once largely agricultural properties. What's different is actually threefold. Every town or city benefited from the 401 going through with the on and off ramps created. And Alto HSR only has 3 stops in Ontario: Toronto, Peterborough, Ottawa. The highway allowed increased supply chain transportation between major cities and small towns alike. Industrial growth occurred around the highway, and access was easily achieved from those on and off ramps. While 401 originally created a perceived barrier, perceived in quotations, population growth required new homes, new commercial businesses, and new industrial sites to leap across that barrier as the under and overpasses were created at regular intervals along the 401. When that highway was built, it accommodated the fact that people needed to get back and forth. Does the 401 and those over and underpasses need expansion and redesign? Yes, but that's another story for another day. If Belleville's going to benefit from the Alto is Belleville going to benefit from the Alto high-speed rail implementation? Short answer is no, because we won't have access to it. But to accommodate the building of this new rail line, we will experience property expropriation and/or prohibition of development on our properties. Within the High-Speed Rail Network Act, Alto has been provided with very broad powers for 3 courses of action: expropriation proceedings, which will tie up properties in expropriation hearings for up to 2 years, with 0 compensation to the property owner while they're in the hearings. Number 2, right of first refusal for up to 8 years, meaning any change in the property ownership must be offered to Alto first, and that first right covenant would devalue properties, and it's been estimated at 10 to 15%. I've heard higher, but 10 to 15 seems to be the norm. Again, with 0 compensation to the property owner. Or the third option, notice of prohibition for up to 4 years, basically prohibiting any work on the property or the buildings other than to prevent normal deterioration or to maintain its normal function. So what's at stake for Belleville and our surrounding communities? Homes, farms, forest, and conservation areas could be expropriated. Federal Bill C-15 seeks to amend the Appropriation Act by expediting land acquisition and narrowing the procedural rights typically available to our landowners. Rural roads would come to dead ends, posing disruptions, and I would expect a significant amount of work for police, fire and emergency services, EMS, municipal services, farming, and school operations. What does one do when the road suddenly comes to a dead end? Ecological habitats, wetlands, and wildlife corridors will be destroyed. And this is taken note by Quinney Conservation, so there is work that's being done there as well. And our municipality, its communities, its villages, and its scenic rural vistas will be permanently altered. I urge my colleagues to support this motion and just say no to the Alto Southern Corridor proposal. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Chatton?
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I just do have an addition for a notice of motion, if that's
Oh,
appropriate.
we've got to vote on this one here.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? All in favor? Carried. Notice of motions. Councillor Chapman.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I had an interesting conversation over the weekend with the former or past chair of Ontario Public School Board Association. And apparently she's been reaching out. Her name is Kathy Abraham, an incredible human being who has been absolutely tireless in her defense of public education. What she told me was that under threat at this moment is elected officials in the trustee position. She's reaching out to every single city across the province to try and garner support in the form of a letter to make sure that the trustee position does remain locally elected in the jurisdiction of the boards that they serve. Unfortunately, we've seen this happen across Canada where certain provinces have adopted getting rid of locally elected trustees. It does not serve the education system well. It doesn't serve the people within the education system well. And I would urge us to be able to formulate a letter in support of Ontario School Board Association. So that's the motion that I will be bringing forward. I will have it for the city clerk.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chapman.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, we have announcements. Councillor Thompson.
Just one announcement. I think we all have heard in the last few days that our longtime citizen, Alvin Parkhurst, passed away at 99 years of age. His birthday would have been in July. He would have been 100. Last August, after his birthday, the mayor and myself went up and presented him with a plaque. For some reason, we knew that maybe he wasn't going to make it to 100. So we presented him with a framed plaque on his 99th birthday. Unfortunately, Mr. Parkhurst has been laying in bed now for probably just about a year, and he went in the hospital a couple of weeks ago with pneumonia, come out about 5 days ago, and this is the result. So I think we all know how valuable Mr. Parkhurst was to our community. If you think that bus that he presided to our city for all the parades for all the years, and he had a bus down to all the, unfortunately, military people that come back from death overseas, and he provided a bus down there for years and years. Very valuable member. So just I want to note to everybody, I think everybody knows, and from what I understand, there's not going to be any really formal visitation for him. So.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Anybody else? Seeing none. Announcements. February 28th is Rare Disease Day. Month of March is Amyloiditis Awareness Month. The month of March is Liver Health Awareness Month. March 9th, 15th is Violence Awareness Act of Kindness Week. I need a bylaw, that bylaw number 2622, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on this February 23rd, 26, be confirmed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Discussion, all in favor. Carried. Motion to adjourn at 4:20. Councillor Thompson. 4:30. See, I can't tell time. 4:40. 20 at 20, 4:40. Councillor Chatton, all in favor to adjourn at whatever time? Carried. Thank you.